Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It is Mindy here. I hope you've had a fantastic week. I've had a very long week. It's been extremely busy with work, which is great, but it has cut into some of the time that I would have used to film, and so I didn't film earlier this week. I'm excited to be back and share some summer fragrances that I will be reaching for. Summer officially starts in the US on June 20th. However, Memorial Day weekend, which is this weekend, is the informal kickoff to the summer. We have a lot of barbecues, we celebrate and honor those people who served in the military and lost their lives. And we also, often celebrate loved ones, people we know who are serving or have served in the military. So with that, I'm excited to talk about these. There are a lot of fragrances here. I won't do a deep dive into each one of them, but I will share my thoughts on them. And without further ado, let's get started. The first fragrance I wanted to talk about today is Jessica Simpson Fancy. And by no means do I think most people would consider this to be a summer fragrance. And it's not really. It is a gourmand fragrance. It is warm. It has vanilla and caramel in it. It has some fruity accords in it like pear, apricot, and red berries. But I find this to be such a beautiful fragrance that works across all seasons. So I personally do love wearing this in the summer months. I think it shines in the heat, but I think it's great in the cold as well. And I find this to be very versatile. This fragrance to me is very much an easy reach. I enjoy it a lot. I actually have a spare of this fragrance upstairs in my closet, but I also carry a spare of it in my camper, which sounds strange, I know, but I like to have fragrances that are easy to reach for when I'm out camping. Should I really be wearing fragrances camping? I don't know, but I do, and I love it. So yeah, this is one that I like to have with me. It's one I like to reach for. It's an everyday scent I enjoy. I've spoken before that the caramel in here does seem to be a little bit synthetic. This was not love at first sniff, but it was love after 30 minutes once I acclimated to the unusual, to me, unusual scent profile here. I do find it to be just a little bit perfumey, but not in a bad way. Gourmandish also, vanilla and caramel as I mentioned before, and just an all-around great fragrance. I think a lot of people like this one, and one I'll be reaching for this summer. These fragrances are in no particular order. Generally, I do like to start with the fragrances that I like the least and gravitate towards the ones that I love the most at the end. That's not the case here. I'm just sharing a series of fragrances that I love, and each one of these is great. Now the next one is another one that isn't necessarily a summer fragrance per se. So this isn't going to be a fruity type fragrance that you would want to wear in the extreme hot months. This is Coco Mademoiselle, and this is the original EDP version. The reason I included it in this video is because we all need a fragrance that we will reach for when we do have a professional work type setting event, a business event that we need to smell nice for. I personally don't know if I'll be returning to the office much this summer, but if I do, this would be a fragrance that I reach for. It's an all-around beautiful scent. This is a 9 out of 10 for me, period. It is just a 9 out of 10. It could be more. I just love the fragrance, and it's an easy wear that smells classy and sophisticated. Coco Mademoiselle has a lot of the notes that I enjoy: tonka bean, patchouli, vanilla, white musk, mimosa. Just a lovely scent. I do think it comes off a little bit sharp at the initial spray, but that dries down and it becomes a beautiful, beautiful scent that I love. This is one that just makes me feel good about myself. It makes me feel confident. I do personally prefer Coco Mademoiselle Intense. That is one of my very favorite fragrances, but this one is probably more versatile for the summer months and one I think a lot of people would really enjoy to wear. That is Coco Mademoiselle by Chanel. Okay, next up is another fragrance that I've spoken before on my channel about. It is Lady Diana by Alexandria Fragrances. This is a great one. This is actually a dupe, a clone of Delina by Parfums de Marly. And in all of the side-by-side comparisons I've done, I have found that this is close enough, it's equivalent enough to Delina for me not to want to bring Delina into my collection. This is another beautiful fragrance. What can I say? It's incredible. It's tart, it's sweet, it has fruitiness. I love the dry down. The vanilla comes out in this one. There's so many dupes to Delina too, and I haven't smelled them all, but I hear that this one is very similar to First Kiss by Be Layered. I believe maybe the same parent company. So I do think if you're looking to maybe ease your way into Delina and figure out if it's the right scent, this is a great one. There's lychee, there's Turkish rose, there's peony rhubarb, there's a lot of tartness, but it shines. This is a fragrance that I got a compliment on, back when we were in the office. Very nice compliments actually by multiple people. So I do know that this fragrance projects, and it does seem to be crowd pleasing. And I think a lot of people would say that Delina la Rosee is their summer preferred Delina version, but that's just not the case for me. I'm not a huge fan of that fragrance profile. Delina Exclusive didn't necessarily work for me. I have samples of all of the original Delinas and flankers, and for me, this works perfectly. This is another one that I have a bottle in my camper for because I just think it smells fresh. It makes you feel clean, but it's sweet. It has a lot of character to it, and it's just a wonderful scent. Again, that is Lady Diana by Alexandria Fragrances. Okay, the next fragrance that I want to talk about is Ariana Grande Cloud. This is another one that is so great for those hot summer months, and I'm not going to spend a lot of time here because if you are a fragrance enthusiast, you know this fragrance. It is a very talked about fragrance because of its relation or commonalities to Maison Francis Kurkdjian Baccarat Rouge 540. This is different to me, and this is a little bit fresher to my nose. I wore this yesterday for a very important event. We had a graduation, a kindergarten graduation to be exact, and I loved wearing this fragrance. It did so well in the heat. It smelled beautiful. There's coconut praline and whipped cream in here that smell beautiful and give me that gourmand scent profile that I crave. But at the same time, again, it withstands against the heat and it smells beautiful when it does it. I personally don't crave this fragrance all the time. It's one I have to be in the mood for, but I do like it. It did give me, by the end of the day yesterday, maybe after 10 hours of wear or so, it was still there, but I was getting a little bit of a fresh toothpaste vibe. Very, very subtly, so it wasn't like it was bold, very noticeable, but on my skin I was picking that up for some reason, and I did notice that before. This doesn't turn medicinal like Baccarat Rouge 540. I don't think of bandages, I don't think of a doctor's office or anything like that, but it did sort of make me think of toothpaste in the back of my mind. Nevertheless, a great scent. This is Ariana Grande Cloud. Another great summer fragrance worth mentioning is Bronze Goddess by Estee Lauder. This is another one that I mentioned on my channel before, and what this really reminds me of is Black Opium. Quite a bit, but I do have a strong preference of Bronze Goddess to Black Opium, and it's because this one is semi-sweet. It has coconut, it has vanilla, but it also has frangipani and a little bit of that beachy tropical layer to it that I really enjoy for the summer months. This is very reminiscent of the beach. It has a little bit of that sunscreen feel. I love the creaminess in it, and all around I find this to be a great scent. It gets a little bit confusing because Bronze Goddess seems to come out with a flanker every single year, so they have Eau Fraiche, which I enjoy, and slight variations, it seems, of this fragrance as well. It is often at Ross or Marshall's, some of those discount sellers for reasonable prices. That's where I picked this one up. But a great scent to try if you like that sunscreen beachy type feel in your fragrance. This is very wearable, it's office appropriate. Again, that is Bronze Goddess by Estee Lauder. Another fragrance that I find to just be stunning in the summer months is La Nuit Trésor Nude by Lancome. And this is one of the more refined coconut fragrances that I've smelled since I've started my fragrance journey. It's sweet in a sophisticated way. It is very office appropriate. It's very office friendly. You can wear this really to any event and you'll feel like it fits. It's very versatile in that way. It is very much more of a summer or spring type fragrance. I don't know if you'd wear this in the winter. I don't know if it'd stand in the winter because it is kind of soft. It's a little light on the projection. But boy, when it is on the skin, when it melts into the skin, it's just a lovely coconut scent that comes out. There is vanilla in here, rose and bergamot, and the composition is lovely. This is an easygoing fragrance, one I love to wear. La Nuit Trésor Nude by Lancome. The next fragrance on my list is Zen by Shiseido. Now I'll be honest, I don't have a ton of citruses in my fragrance collection, and that's because I don't necessarily crave them all that often. This one often gets compared to fragrances like Chanel Chance. It is fresh. There's a lot of citrus in here, but there's a little bit of woodiness and fruitiness, and this one smells, again, another one that's elegant and sophisticated, one that does very well in the hot months, and it smells beautiful all around. I find Zen by Shiseido to be a sparkling, light, but fresh, attractive, joyful, happy scent. In this fragrance is lemon, bergamot, orange, pineapple. There's also rose. So you get a lot of that fruitiness, citrus in this fragrance. And at the base, there's patchouli, cedar, incense, amber, musk, and pine. So it warms down a little bit warmer, but it always stays that sort of joyful, sparkling level. This is just one I'm not reaching for enough, but every time I smell it, I wonder why not. So I will make it a point to reach for this one a little bit more. That is Zen by Shiseido. Okay, next up are two fragrances that I've recently brought into my collection and I love both. One is La Vie Est Belle L'Eclat and the other is La Vie Est Belle Soleil Cristal. Either one of these fragrances would work incredibly in the summer months. Now, I would base that on what you like in your fragrances. So both of these maintain that underlying DNA from La Vie Est Belle. So they both have white floral in them. They both have iris, orange blossom, mandarin orange, bergamot, vanilla, patchouli. So they share a lot of the same notes between these two. They have the iris that I find in a lot of La Vie Est Belle fragrances, which I always enjoy, but they are similar and different. So what I found in the L'Eclat that stands out differently from Soleil Cristal is that L'Eclat has sandalwood in the base, whereas that seems to be replaced in Soleil Cristal by the coconut note or accord. And again, I like both of these fragrances. I reach for this one when I'm craving that coconut sweetness, but I also really like the way the florals are done in this fragrance as well. Both excellent options, especially if you're someone who enjoys La Vie Est Belle. I don't think you're gonna go wrong with both of these. They wear lovely on the skin. This one gives me a little bit of a solar feel because of that frangipani that's in it, but I love them both. And again, you really can't go wrong with either one of these fragrances. Okay, so the next fragrance I wanna talk about is Olympea by Paco Rabanne. And I'll be honest here, this is not one that I absolutely love. It's not one that I reach for the most, but I do really enjoy the fragrance. It's vanillic, it's salty, it's warm, there's some woodiness here, and while it's not like the beachy fragrances that I love and gravitate towards, it does have a little bit of a tropical feel to it in that it will make you think of the ocean, it will make you think of vacation, and it puts you in a fun mindset. Another thing about this fragrance is that my husband actually enjoys this one. This is one he's complimented me on before, and if I can get that bonus of other people enjoying the fragrance I'm wearing, I'll take it when I can get it. Definitely wear this one from time to time around him. Probably a great one to wear if you're going to the lake or something along those lines, the ocean for other people who have that luxury. A great fragrance, again, that is Olympea by Paco Rabanne. Next up is another one that I was so pleasantly surprised by in 2021. In fact, early on in the year, it was one of the most surprising fragrances. However, as the year has gone on, there have been a lot of surprising fragrances this year that I'm blown away by. But this still remains to be one of those. It is Eau Duelle, the EDT by Diptyque. So Eau Duelle is a vanilla fragrance. It's one that I really love. It has bourbon vanilla in it, which is a note that I find myself seeking out quite a bit now. But it's not only vanilla here. There is a freshness that comes to play. There's juniper in here. There's pink pepper, so a little bit of spiciness. There's ambergris, bergamot, saffron, and musk. And this one just blows me away. This isn't the typical vanilla gourmand that I crave, that I love, but is one that I really enjoy, and I think will work so beautifully in those hot summer months to get a spike of freshness when you need it. This is one that I'll be reaching for quite a bit. If you're finding yourself bored by some of those same old heavy vanillas, definitely recommend you get your nose on this one and see if it's for you. Again, that is Eau Duelle by Diptyque, and this is the EDT. The next fragrance is one I never hear talked about, and I quite honestly don't know why. I see a lot of posts on Fragrantica asking about tropical, beachy, suntan oil type fragrances, and this is one. This is Beach by Bobbi Brown, and this is an eau de parfum. It is jasmine, sand, seawater, and mandarin orange listed in this fragrance, and not a complex list of notes, and not a complex fragrance. In fact, it's interesting that there's not coconut in here. When I think of a suntan oil type fragrance, I would think it would have coconut in it. This one does not, at least it's not listed. But it captures that suntan oil so beautifully. If you're looking for something that's like copper tone oil, I do think you should get your nose on this one. It's reminiscent, it's memory evoking, it's nostalgic of being on the beach. This is one that I love to wear, and as you can tell, I have burned through quite a bit of this. I'll have an important decision to make soon, whether I get another bottle. I think I have to though, because I do find this fragrance to be very wearable. You know, when you think about a suntan oil, that's not elegant, it's not classy per se, because you're thinking about being on the beach in a bathing suit, probably having a Mai Tai or a Coco Loco or something like that. But this does do beach in a way that is sophisticated, where I would feel appropriate wearing this into an office or a business setting. Another great fragrance that I love, one I'll be repurchasing, that is Beach by Bobbi Brown. Okay, the next fragrance that I have is Vanilla Vibes by Juliette Has A Gun, and I only have this small mini of it. I do not have a full bottle, and I'm sort of grateful for that, but also not. This is one that I have gone back and forth on for so long. It too has a very beachy feel to it. It dries down to, for me on my skin, sort of a non-distinct salty vanilla scent. And that's why I go back and forth on this one, because when I smell it out of this bottle, it smells incredible. And I do leave this in my container of samples, and so the scent comes out from time to time when I pull the samples out. I always get my nose on this one, and it just seems to smell different from the bottle, the mini, different on paper than it does on my skin. And it drives me absolutely crazy. I don't know why that is, but what I do think is that this is a lovely scent. It will work for a lot of people. This is accessible in Sephora, so what I recommend to you is to put this on your skin and see how it wears if you're looking for something along these lines, and see if you like the dry down of it. You know, me personally, I don't love it on my skin, but I do think if I smelled this on someone else, it would smell incredible. So with that being said, a great fragrance. This is Vanilla Vibes by Juliette Has A Gun. One that I won't be getting a full bottle for, but one that I absolutely have an appreciation for as we move into the summer months. Okay, next up is Brazilian Crush by Sol de Janeiro. And this is a sweet, decadent, delicious, nutty vanillic fragrance. This is another one that would be stunning if you wore it out on the beach or you really wanted that heavy summer feel. This is a great one to check out. Now, in the top, there is pistachio and almond in this one. And I'm really surprised by how much nuttiness you get in this fragrance. It does shine through, but there's caramel, vanilla, salt, and sandalwood in here to balance that out as well. But if you don't like nuttiness in your fragrances, this one might be one to stay away from. This is another one that will do a great job of transporting you away to a mindset of another place, another time. If you can't be on that beach or be on that lake, put this one on and you'll get that feel. It'll shift you into that mindset. Again, that is Brazilian Crush. Such a good one by Sol de Janeiro. Okay, the next fragrance that I wanted to talk about is Flowerbomb by Viktor&Rolf. This is an extraordinary popular fragrance and there is good reason for that. This actually makes me think of that song, I don't want to sing it, but the Girl Scout song, make new friends but keep the old, one is silver and the other gold. This is gold. This is gold right here. If you haven't tried this, you have got to try it. This is a solid fragrance that I will always have in my collection. There's a floral aspect to it. It is a floral fragrance, but it has sweetness that balances out that floral. There is tea in here and freesia as well. It is done beautifully. I can't imagine anyone being offended by this fragrance. It's soft, it's sweet, but it's light, it's pretty, and a great one to wear for the summer months. It shines in the summer months and it smells lovely in the summer months. This is an easy reach, it's a lovely scent, and as mortified as I am for singing the Girl Scout song, I do think that this is a solid fragrance. It is, keeping the old in your collection, keeping it close to you because it is special. It's a meaningful add to your collection, one you'll find you want to reach for over time. It may not be your everyday scent, it may be a little bit common, but it's one that you do find joy in wearing, and that's how I feel about it. A great fragrance, and like an old friend. I don't know. A great fragrance. That is Flowerbomb by Viktor&Rolf. Okay, the next fragrance on my list is Angel. This is the EDT by Mugler again. And one thing that I find strange is that on Fragrantica, when it shows this fragrance, the EDT, it shows it in a pink bottle and it refers to it as the 2019 version. Mine is not pink, so I don't know why that is. If any of you know, please let me know because I've been trying to solve the mystery for eternity. But I checked, I double checked, I triple checked, looked at my box, looked at my order, and it does show the EDT on both. So I can't quite figure out why I have this blue bottle. Maybe this was an earlier release or something, not sure. This is a fragrance that I do find a little difficult to describe. It is one of the hardest to describe for me. What I'd say is it's just a gorgeous scent. This is a beautiful fragrance. I do find it to be zesty, fruity, sparkling. It's a little bit fresh, it's vibrant, it's got those berries in there to give it that sweetness, but it also warms up with praline in it. There's patchouli, there's white woods. It comes together in a composition that I find myself craving. I find it to be delicious. I don't know how I missed this one. I'm definitely late to the game, but I'm glad I made it to the game. This is one that I would probably consider wearing as a signature scent. If I wanted to narrow down my collection and only have 5 to 10 fragrances, this is one that I would absolutely bring into that reduced size collection because it is a beautiful fragrance that I think is fairly versatile as well. A lot of versatile fragrances here that I'm talking about because I do like to have a lot of crowd-pleasing type fragrances in my collection. Of course, not all of them are crowd-pleasing, but I like to have them because they're an easy type reach. That is this one. definitely a signature scent for some people. I hear the EDP is not appreciated near as much, at least that's what it seems like on Fragrantica. I get the sense that it's quite a bit heavier. So if you know more about that, please let me know. If you think you have to have the EDP in your collection for it to be comprehensive, I want to know that too. That is Angel, the EDT, I'm 99.9% sure, by Mugler. Okay, the next fragrance that I want to talk about is Atara by Michael Malul. This is very similar to other fragrances that are common. La Vie Est Belle, it's similar to Angel in some ways, but I do find it to be an underrated fragrance because it is unique. The first person that I ever heard talk about this was Sheree Lewis, and she definitely piqued my interest, and I have to say I bought it very quickly after watching her review because I was extremely curious. I'm surprised I don't hear it talked about a little bit more because it's a beautiful gourmand. It has this pear note that very much sticks around. I will say when you wear this fragrance, there is this scent that smells like grapefruit. I don't see grapefruit anywhere listed in the accords, but there's a tartness in here that if you don't like the tartness that's in Delina, it's very different than this one, but if you don't like a lot of tartness or you get a little overwhelmed by too much sweetness, you may want to stay away from this one, but I find it to be lovely, and if you are a gourmand lover, there's a good chance you'll probably like this one. This is fruity, it's sweet, it's got some depth, it has patchouli in it, it has vanilla and tonka bean, one that I do recommend. And another thing, this is another bonus fragrance where my husband likes this one. He made a positive comment on this one, and not that that's, something to cheer about, but he doesn't comment on a lot of my fragrances. He knows that I love this hobby and he just kind of brushes it off. But when he does comment on them, I do think about that fragrance and I do often reach for it more because that gets in my mindset and makes me think it could be a crowd-pleasing fragrance. Again, that is Atara by Michael Malul, London. Okay guys, thank you so much for watching this video on fragrances that I'll be reaching for in the summer months. I missed you guys. It's been a long week, but I'm back. I'm happy to be back. I appreciate you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And I hope you go into the weekend with a lot to be grateful and thankful for. Until next time, I'll see you soon.